Brahmavidya Peetham International welcomes you to this year's celebration of this joyous and very auspicious occasion of Srimad Bhagavad Gita Jayanti. We join the entire world community as Hindus across the globe celebrate this great historic Srimad Bhagavad Gita Jayanti today, which also happens to be Christmas Day. So as people across the world celebrate Christmas Day, we also celebrate Srimad Bhagavad Gita Jayanti today. Here in Trinidad and Tobago, Brahmavidya Peetham International is celebrating this momentous occasion as the Srimad Bhagavad Gita holds a great message of harmony and synthesis for each and every citizen of our republic, for each and every person in this global village that we now live in. The Gita is said to be like a diamond. The more it is cut, the more it shines. The more its text is reinterpreted, revisited, and researched, the more it shines brilliantly. It is the essence of the Upanishads. It is both Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra, the science of the reality and the art of union with the reality. Swami Vivekananda says, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a commentary on the Upanishads, whereas his master, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, told his devotee, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, the lesson of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is, O human beings, renounce everything and seek God alone. Whether a man is a monk or a householder, he has to shake off all attachment from his mind. Thus, we need to understand that the Gita is essentially a book of experience rather than a book of knowledge. The Srimad Bhagavad Gita is indeed a formula for living, a formula for the art of living in this modern era today. So, as we join the global community, today we are joined by very great and illustrious speakers who would be giving us messages and thoughts on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Today we would be receiving messages from our founder and Peetadish, Swami Brahma Swarupananda Ji, Swami Brahmadev Ji. We would also receive the blessings of our Dharmacharya of Trinidad and Tobago of the Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, His Holiness Pandit Dr. Rampasad Parasuram. Joining us from the United States of America, the Chief Administrators of Trinidad and Tobago to the global country of world peace, Raja Graham de Freitas and Rajmata Leanne de Freitas. And from the Caribbean in Barbados, Dr. Suresh Chatrani, who has studied from the Maharishi University of Management in Holland, and he holds an MBA and a PhD in natural law and consciousness. We will be joined by these illustrious speakers in today's program.
Om Hari Om. Om Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. Namo Astute Vyasa Visala Buddhe Fullar Vindayat Patra Nitra Ena Tvaya Bharat Taila Purnam Prajwalito Jnanamaya Pradeepa. My dear brother and sister, today is the birthday of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we are celebrating birthday of this holy book. In the world, in the whole world, only we are celebrating this of this book. We are celebrating the birthday of God, Ram and Krishna. But today is the birthday of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavan Krishna, on this day, he preached. He have given the complete lesson to own devotee Arjun, son of the Pandavas, in the battlefield of the Mahabharata. All the speaker, incarnation, great soul, has given lesson, teaching, maybe on the mountain, maybe in forest, maybe in ashram, maybe in house, but only Lord Krishna is a great example. He preached in battlefield of the Mahabharata. My dear brother and sister, life is a battlefield. Every step, every day, day and night, always you are facing the problem. And how to remove problem? So what teaching a lesson is necessary? Bhagavan Krishna, in the Gita, 18th chapter, 700 verses, slokas, by the Vyasji, Krishna Dvaipayan, he wrote this book. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. Biggest book of the world is a Mahabharata. So Gita is a part of Mahabharata in the battlefield. When Bhagavan Krishna started to preach, Arjun listening, Vyasji listening in own ashram, and all horses listening, and in the flag Hanumanji, it is our faith, he was listening. And in the palace of Dhritarashtra, Sanjay is listening and looking. That is a listener, Srota of Bhagavad Gita. Name is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad means Bhagavan, God. Gita means sing. It's the song of the God, that is Bhagavad Gita. Other one book is similar, Srimad Bhagavat Purana. That is a Bhagavat, that is a Bhagavat. Bhagavat means Srimad Bhagavat, who is the word of the devotees, bhaktas. Gita is a word of the Bhagavan. Srimad Bhagavat Purana is a word of the devotee, bhakta. So, today we are discussing Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Krishna. I like Krishna. 500, more than 5,000 years, he came on this earth. He did so many Leela, so many story of his life up till now present in the heart and mind of the all people, mostly all people in every country, every country. He's a many aspect of the Lord Krishna life, many aspect of his life. In childhood, he born in the jail, and same night father went in the Gokul Vrindavana in the house of the Nanda and Jasoda. He became 10-year-old, they all playing the flute, dancing with all distributing the happiness, blissfulness to everybody, old, young, children, man, male, female, to everybody. That is second stage of Lord Krishna. Third stage coming. Then he came and Mathura, and he's presented on power, your energy, your skill in front of all type of enemy. Then next stage coming in battlefield of Mahabharata. And Kaurav and Pandav, they are own family. Really, my dear brother, sister, always you are suffering the own family. Whole world is your own family. So they started to fight for peace of land, for name and fame, for the Singhasan and chariot, who will be king and emperor. Duryodhana, a man of injustice, not ready to help to Pandavas. He want to be king, he want to be prince. So all tricks, and he played how they will suffer. At last, the story is telling, all Pandava went in the forest, and 12 years he was in forest. And after coming back, then not giving any house to stay there. One house they have given, they burn in the night in the fire. Anyhow, God protect their life. Then that is very struggle period, very crisis. Because the decline of the dharma, righteousness go down, nobody able to think what is right and what is wrong, what should do and what shouldn't do. Ethics and morality totally disturbed. Society ready to be fragmented. Enmity is growing. At that time, at last, Kaurava did, and Draupadi is in parliament, they're trying to make naked. Lord Krishna protected. Everywhere he is protected. Lord Krishna playing the role as a charioteer. He is helping the horse with the rein of the horse. And then Arjuna seated on the Singhasan and the chariot, fighting. So that is a great crisis of the society and crisis of the Lord Krishna also. But Lord Krishna has promised, I will save yada yada hi dharmasya. When the decline period will come, I will help. I help. Fighting finished. 18 days fighting between all the great heroes of that age were killed. Lord Krishna told Pandava, Arjuna, Yudhishthira, Bhim, Nakul, Sahadeva, I am going to Dwarika and my place. He left. He came in Dwarika. And then other life started. He became king. In that period, when the childhood, Radha came in life, and young Mama Kans came in life, Pandava, all the great hero of India, they came in life of Lord Krishna. At last he returned Dwarika, he became king. He forgot everything. That is a life sketch of Lord Krishna. That is first form is the life. At last he left this body, went in own abode. Gokul Dham he went. Next aspect of his life is in the Mahabharata period teaching Gita, a great embodiment of knowledge, devotion and karma. He has given, do your work, work is your worship. He explained, knowledge is necessary, then understand what is right and what is wrong. But inside devotion is necessary, love is necessary, compassion. Love and compassion, you can establish a good society. The Jnana Yoga, way of knowledge, Karma Yoga, way of action, and Bhakti Yoga, way of devotion. He preached in Gita. He is as a great philosopher. In Mahabharata Yuddha is great man of the management. Everything managing. Gita is a book of management. If you want to manage society, house, personal life, then Gita is the best book. Due to this, Gandhi told, Gita is my mother. Acharya Vinoba Bhave told, Gita is my mother. When I have problem, I am reading the Gita, I am getting the answer. Great scientist Albert Einstein, he prepared the atom bomb and then he told, Gita is helping me to think, to make idea about this energy, atomic energy. So mostly the whole world, all great scholars, they wrote the commentary on the Gita. So then Gita is a book of management. Book is a constitution of the ruling. How to govern. You want to learn through the life of Lord Krishna. Governance is necessary. Proper governance. What type of education? He has given the education system completely. And so, is a many aspects of Lord Krishna. And Vyasji wrote about Gita, Sarvo Panisado Gao, Dugdha Gopalanandana. All holy book Upanishad, they are cow. And Krishna is a milkman who taking the milking. Partho was calf is Arjun, and the milk is coming. All the scholars they are drinking. That is Amrit, is Gita Amrit, Gita milk. So all of you enjoy. Pray to Lord Krishna. Read the Gita daily. And Gita, Ramayana, Upanishad, the Vedas, they are the heart of our society. Please, everybody, do the pranam. So, please enjoy. Boli Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Krishna Bhagavan to help to everybody. Hari Om Tassat.
Jai Sitaram. Greetings and best wishes on the occasion of Bhagavad Gita Jayanti. As you know, this day marks the day when Bhagavan Sri Krishna gave the message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita to his friend and disciple Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Shri Vyas Muniji captured the message of Bhagavad Gita, and it is to be found in Bhishma Parva of his Mahabharata. It is very prized, it is very important work. It outlines many pathways through which we can work out our salvation. Many of us swear by the Srimad Bhagavad Gita because we believe कि यह स्वयं पद्मनाभस्य मुख पद्माद विनिसृता, it has come directly to us from Bhagavan Sri Krishna. We have also been taught कि मल निर्मोचनम पुंसम जल स्नानम दिने दिने सकृत गीताम बसी स्नानम संसार मलनाशनम, that just as we take water to wash the physical body, if we bathe our intellects in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we will be able to rid ourselves of the impurities of worldliness. But we have also been told that by following the pathways outlined by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, we will be able to rid ourselves of fear and worry and attain the lotus feet of Bhagavan Vishnu. So, Vishnu Padama Vapnoti Bhaya Shokadi Varjitah. Once again, I wish you all the best on this occasion. The quotations I have made have come from our great teachers. I hope that all of you will continue to benefit from the wisdom of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and by studying Bhagavad Gita and by applying the teachings in your life, you will attain the highest good. Jai Sitaram.
Hello, my name is Graham DeFreitas,
My name is Leanne DeFreitas.
and we're being invited by Swami Swarupananda to talk about Maharshi Mahesh Yogi's view of the Bhagavad Gita. We are both teachers of Maharshi Mahesh Yogi's Transcendental Meditation program, and we have been since 1970s, and we are very happy to be able to try to explain this interpretation of the Gita to you today. The main thing that we should start with is that the interpretation is based on Maharshi's scientific nature. As a great Vedic scientist, he was systematically looking at the Ved with the view of being able to verify this in his own experience, because he had been given and now has founded the Transcendental Meditation program and been teaching this around the world. Before he had wrote the Gita commentary, and he used this as the basis for his commentary. He understood that this was the basic message of the Gita that Lord Krishna was trying to give. But first of all, let's just say just 2 words about the Transcendental Meditation technique. It is
Simple, natural, mental technique practiced by millions of people around the world from all different kinds of backgrounds. And it has been shown in scientific experiments to produce a broad range of positive effects on the individual and even on the society.
And the great thing about it is that it is very simple to do. And just in the next few seconds, we will show you a very, very graphic demonstration of just the simplicity, but also the profundity of this technique. And so we'll see you right after this video. So this technique can be learned in 100 countries in the world. In Trinidad, you just go to trinbago.tm.org and you can sign up for a lecture on this, and it has to be taught by a certified teacher in person, and then you can learn it. So we would encourage you to learn it and also to look at this wonderful book which Maharshi has produced, this commentary on the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, and to enjoy his interpretation and his commentary of this wonderful Vedic literature. So let's read to begin with from the introduction from this book, and we will see how Maharshi is basing his commentary on transcendental meditation.
The Bhagavad Gita is the light of life, lit by God at the altar of man, to save humanity from the darkness of ignorance and suffering. It is a scripture which outlives time and can be acknowledged as indispensable to the life of any man in any age. It is the encyclopedia of life, and this commentary provides an index to it. It will be of interest to the reader to know that this commentary is being brought out only after the technique has been verified in the lives of thousands of people of different nationalities throughout the world. It presents a truth that is timeless and universal, a truth of life equally suited to all men, irrespective of differences of faith, culture, or nationality.
So Maharshi wrote this in 1967, and since then, as Leanne has mentioned, millions of people have learned this technique, and in every part of the world. So the first verse we want to read, the commentary of, would be the second chapter, verse 45, which Maharshi finds as the basic and knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, and the verse is translated as, "The Vedas' concern is with the three gunas. Be without the three gunas, O Arjuna, freed from duality, ever firm in purity, independent of possessions, possessed of the self." In his commentary, Maharshi says this is the technique of instantaneous realization. The Lord shows Arjuna a practical way of converging the many-branched mind into the one-pointedness of the resolute intellect. Here is an effective technique for bringing the mind to a state where all differences dissolve and leave the individual in a state of fulfillment.
Lord Krishna commands Arjuna, be without the three gunas. Be without activity. Be yourself. This resolute consciousness, the state of absolute being, which is the ultimate cause of all causes. This state of consciousness brings harmony to the whole field of cause and effect and glorifies all life. Lord Krishna in this verse has really given the technique of self-realization. Arjuna was held in suspension between the dictates of his heart and mind. The Lord suggests to him that he should come out of the conflict, and he will then see his way clear. That is why, having said, be without the three gunas, he immediately adds, freed from duality, freed from the field of conflicts. The relative field of life is full of conflicting elements, heat and cold, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, and all the other pairs of opposites which constitute life. Under their influence, life is tossed about as a ship on the rough sea from one wave to another. To be freed from duality is to be in the field of non-duality, the absolute state of being. This provides smoothness and security to life in the relative field. It is like an anchor to the ship of life in the ocean of the three gunas. One gains steadiness and comfort.
So with this introduction to the TM technique in that verse, just three verses later, Maharshi finds the fulfillment of this in verse 48. This is Yogastar Kuru Kamani, which Maharshi translates as, established in yoga, O winner of wealth, perform actions having abandoned attachment, and having become balanced in success and failure, for balance of mind is called yoga. So Leanne will read part of the commentary here.
Part of the training for one who wishes to become a good swimmer is the art of diving. When one is able to maintain oneself successfully in deep water, then swimming on the surface becomes easy. All action is the result of the play of the conscious mind. If the mind is strong, then action is also strong and successful. The conscious mind becomes powerful when the deeper levels of the ocean of mind are activated during the process of transcendental meditation, which leads the attention from the surface of the conscious mind to the transcendental field of being. The process of diving within is the way to become established in yoga.
The regular practice of transcendental meditation is the direct way of rising to the state of transcendental being and stabilizing it in the very nature of the mind, so that irrespective of the mind's engagements in the conflicts inherent in the diversities of life, the structure of unity in eternal freedom is naturally maintained and life is not lost to itself. Now this is beautiful. In just 2 verses, Maharishi has come to be describing a state of enlightenment. And he also finds in this second chapter, in an earlier verse, that this is, just like his technique of transcendental meditation, is completely effortless. So this is verse 40, and the translation is, in this yoga, no effort is lost and no obstacle exists. Even a little of this dharma delivers from great fear.
But the Lord says, a little of this practice. This shows that something has to be done. What is necessary is only to begin to experience the increasing charm on the way to transcendental absolute bliss. As in the case of diving, one has only to take a correct angle and let go. The whole process is accomplished in an automatic manner. This is what the Lord means by a little of this. Just as the first ray of the sun dispels the darkness of the night, so this first step in this practice dispels the darkness of ignorance and fear. But although the first ray of the rising sun is able to dispel the darkness of the night, the sun still continues to rise, because its nature is not only to remove darkness, leaving the atmosphere dimly lighted, but also to shine forth in splendor and illumine the whole earth. The glory of the sun is its full midday light.
So this beautiful vision, and Maharishi goes on later to bring this out and bring out much more of the values of the Gita. All this is Lord Krishna's teaching, but Maharishi is commenting and showing how the technique of Lord Krishna, the transcendental meditation technique, completely develops the human being into an enlightened person. And here's an example in verse 5 of chapter 6. Let a man raise his self by his self, that is, his small self by his big self. Let him not debase his big self. He alone indeed is his own friend. He alone is his own enemy.
The Lord's teaching in this verse applies to every level of evolution. It may be interesting to note at this point that the fullest development of the self is through 3 stages, from the waking state of consciousness to transcendental consciousness, from transcendental consciousness to cosmic consciousness, and from cosmic consciousness to God consciousness. The teaching of this verse is equally applicable to all these stages of one's development. In the first stage, the self evolves by means of the activity of transcendental meditation and realizes the self. In the second stage, from transcendental consciousness to cosmic consciousness, the state of self is supplemented by the activity of the self in order to maintain the self in its true nature, even in the midst of activity. In the third and final stage, From cosmic consciousness to God consciousness, the self has to go all by itself and on the level of silence, devoid of any activity.
So this is the time, all the time we have really to show you the depth of this commentary and the revolutionary nature of this commentary, showing that enlightenment is an easy process, effortless process, which Lord Krishna invites us to join in and describes in such detail in the 700 verses of the whole Gita. So we wish you enlightenment through your study of the Ved, especially with the aid of this beautiful technique, Transcendental Meditation, which again you can find at trinbago.tm.org. You can find a teacher there and learn this technique, which will then give you joy as you progress in your study of the Ved and on your way to enlightenment. All best wishes to everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to talk to you about the Bhagavad Gita and Maharshi's commentary.
Sitaram, on this Christmas 2020, we would like to wish everyone everlasting peace and abundant joy in your life, family life, and national life. May all the well-wishers, the spiritual leaders, national leaders, may all their wishes be actualized. May the light of love and hope fill the whole world. 2020 has been a year. We have been faced with many challenges. COVID, lockdowns, remote working, remote schooling, personal fears for health and safety, not only for oneself but for family, intensified stresses in personal relationships, business relationships, stresses from job security, and for some, even the basic lack of food and necessities, basic necessities, a very challenging time. So if we take this day, 2025, if we take this day, December 25th, 2020, we take this point in time, we see that we have faced problems and issues, and we have sought some level of knowledge over the year and acted to develop a new way of thinking and living. On this day, we are celebrating the birth of the Bhagavad Gita, the Song of the Lord. Similarly, at this point in time, a few thousand years ago, Arjuna was faced with his own dilemma on the battlefield. He was a great warrior of his time and was known throughout the land for his unparalleled skill, bravery, kindness, and dedication to upholding Dharma. As a Kshatriya, he was a protector of the administration and people of the kingdom. His duty was to conquer any forces which threatened the integrity of the kingdom. However, in this battlefield, the opposition included many warriors and family members whom he considered dear to him, particularly his elders and teachers. His mind clearly understood the issues at hand, but his feelings were also strong, and the thought of fighting against those he loved was breaking his heart. He expressed this to Lord Krishna, who was his charioteer, and then threw down his bows and arrows, refusing to fight. Arjuna was overwhelmed with sorrow, and his problem seemed not solvable. Sounds familiar? Have we not at different points in our life felt like this? Even now, especially? Lord Krishna's reply to Arjuna's predicament has become one of the greatest exposition of yoga philosophy, remarkable for its simplicity and directedness, along with its profound and practical insights. It reveals an approach to life that can help anyone, in any age. It can help people deal with their difficulties and make you stronger, more positive, and allow you to make more life-supporting decisions. His Holiness Maharishi Mahesh Yogi has said that the Bhagavad Gita is like the pocketbook of the Veda. So let's take a moment to share some of his insights into the Bhagavad Gita. From chapter 2, verse 48, which starts, Yogastha Kuru Karmani. Established in yoga, being, perform action. This is really the key for personal and professional success. Let's take a few words from his commentary on this. Establish in yoga means establish in cosmic consciousness. Yoga, or union of the mind with divine intelligence, begins when the mind gains transcendental consciousness. Yoga achieves maturity when this state of transcendental consciousness or divine being has been gained and grounded in the mind to such an extent that wherever the mind finds itself, whether it is waking, dreaming, or sleeping, it remains established in the state of being. It is this state of perfect enlightenment that the Lord refers to in the beginning of the verse when he says, established in yoga. So it's that state of mind that once established in, then perform action. This is really the key for professional and personal success. So this established in being, Yogastha. Now wisdom has two aspects to it: knowledge and application. So the knowledge here is we have to establish ourselves in being. But how do we? What is the practice that allows us to experience that state of yoga? Maharishi explains this like this. Maharishi describes his meditation, which is the practical aspect of establishing in yoga or establishing in being, as follows. The transcendental meditation technique is an effortless procedure for allowing the excitation of the mind gradually to settle down until the least excited state of the mind is reached. This is a state of inner wakefulness with no object of thought or perception, just pure consciousness, aware of its own unbounded nature. It is the wholeness, aware of itself, devoid of differences, beyond the division of subject and object. That is the transcendental consciousness. That is the state of Atman. That is the state of being. That is yoga. So here, in this just one phrase, Yogastha, that in order to perform action, we should be established in yoga, established in being. So here, two aspects are there: knowledge, that we have to be established in being, and the practice. Maharishi explains that in his transcendental meditation, that state of yoga is achieved. Now this is very important because before acting, that state of being is necessary in order for it to be successful. Now, it's like an arrow. and a bow. If you want the arrow to reach its target, you have to pull the arrow back on the bow. Once you pull the arrow back on the bow and you aim, you just let go of the arrow and it goes to its target. So it's like pulling the mind back into that state of being, into that state of yoga, and then perform action. That is where the key to professional and personal life exists. On this Christmas 2020, as we celebrate this great day, the birthday of the Bhagavad Gita, the Song of the Lord, one of the greatest exposition of yoga philosophy, both in knowledge and practice, let us make a resolution for 2021 to gift ourselves a gift of being, the gift of Atman, the gift of consciousness. Gift it to ourselves, gift it to our family, gift it to the children of our communities and nation. Gift it to our school kids, because they are the treasures and hope for the future of our nations. This beautiful gift of pure consciousness. This is what will bring about a peaceful and joyous world, like heaven on earth. Sitaram.
We want to thank our illustrious speakers for joining in today's program of Srimad Bhagavad Gita Jayanti, especially on receiving the blessings of our founder and Pitadish, Swami Brahmaswarupananda Ji, the blessings of our Dharmacharya Ji of Trinidad and Tobago, of Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha, His Holiness Pandit Dr. Rampasad Parasuram, Raja Graham de Freitas and Rajmata Lian de Freitas of the Global Country of World Peace, the Chief Administrators to Trinidad and Tobago and 11 other countries, and Dr. Suresh Chatrani of Barbados. Brahma Vidya Peetham International thanks you very, very much for your great thoughts on this day of Srimad Bhagavad Gita Jayanti. And as we culminate today's program, I would like to share with you two of my favorite verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita taken from chapter 2, where it says, Dhyayate Vishayam Punsaha Sangateshu Pajayate Sangat Sanjayate Kamaha Kamat Krodha Abhijayate. Thinking of sense objects, attachment to them is formed. From attachment rises desire to possess, and from longing, anger emerges. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhrama, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. From anger comes delusion, and from delusion, loss of memory. From loss of memory comes the ruin of discriminative power, and from the ruin of discrimination, the person perishes. Let us utilize the verses, the great mantras of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita as a formula for inspiration in our lives. Let us propagate, preserve, and protect our Sanatan Dharma, our Vedic culture, and the great message of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. We wish you a very happy Srimad Bhagavad Gita Jayanti. Hari Om. Namaste.